Hey y'all, it's your legal bestie, attorney Symone, and this video is dedicated to Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. Dak, congratulations! Dak has called off his wedding, and congratulations are in order. Oh, I'm your legal bestie, attorney Symone. I'm a lawyer, a Texas-based lawyer, although I do take cases from around the nation. Let me tell you why congratulations are in order is because this man just saved himself millions and millions and millions of dollars. All right, so here's the backstory. Dak and this cutie patootie here, her name is Sarah Jane Ramos. Oh, it was a whirlwind love affair. They met in 2023 within months. And in 2023, of course, he was a star quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And she was a bartender. She was a bartender. She also calls herself a wineologist. She works for liquor brands. And she does this because she's a cutie patootie. She'll like show up in Costco and Sam's Club and she'll give you a little taste testing. Okay. You get a little taste testings, liquor testings. Okay. So they met in 2023 and within months, Dak impregnated her. He just stuck that little Peter Weeder in there and just went to town on it. Okay. And he got her pregnant. I say he got her pregnant because he could have controlled that, right? Yes. And then the next year in 2024, at one point, he proposed to her. He then gets her pregnant again in 2025 because, boy, that man's like a jackrabbit, letting it loose. And they then plan the wedding for 2026. It is months away. It was supposed to be May of 2026. Unfortunately, and they just had that bachelorette and bachelor party. They had a dual bachelorette and bachelor party. Well, someone that attended sent a tip to TMZ saying that they have now called off the wedding. Now, there are multiple versions. I want to let you know what versions. The first version that was leaked to the internet said it was because the wedding was called off because she wouldn't sign a prenup. That doesn't make sense to me in that because a prenup can be negotiated to have multiple terms. Now, if you told me they went through months of negotiation and still couldn't get an agreement, that's one thing. Now, I did see online that it said the prenup wasn't the reason she's rich. The rich girls are the ones you have to worry about. They are absolute because they will try to make you feel like, oh no, my parents have money. I don't need to sign a prenup. Yes, you do, because your dad got that money because he's a capitalist. He got that money on the backs of hard workers like Dak. So don't be fooled by people who say, oh, she didn't need a prenup. She came from money. Girls with money are the exact ones who need a prenup because she ain't got nothing. That girl's a bartender. Okay. So you'd actually want a prenup. But from what it sounds like, I actually don't think that it was necessarily a prenup. They actually said that it was cheating. I don't know. Could have been. I don't know. I don't care. I mean, look at her. You chose to have 2 kids by a stranger. You got pregnant within months. And she looks like Tuesdays. Okay. Tuesdays. No, stay with me. Don't get mad. When I say by Tuesdays, I mean, she looks wholesome. Okay. Tuesdays are, what'd you do last Tuesday? Not this week, but a week ago Tuesday. What'd you do? Nobody knows. You know why you don't know? It's because Tuesdays are forgettable. Okay. Tuesdays are you go Monday, you know what you did because it was the start of the week. You're like, oh, I hate Mondays. Okay. Then Wednesday is hump day. You're like, oh, I'm halfway through the week. Thursday is like, oh, it's almost the weekend. Friday is like, Friday. Nobody cares about Tuesdays. Okay. But Tuesdays get you to the weekend. What I'm saying is she held him down. Look at that face. She held him down. And as a Tuesday girl herself, okay, I frequently look at Tuesday. I know what I'm talking about. My point here is this. It could have been cheating. It could have been a prenup, but none of those matter. That's not why I'm congratulating him. Here's why I'm congratulating him. Dak Prescott, whether it's her or any other woman, financially, as a lawyer from a legal standpoint, don't you marry none of these women. As long as you're women living in Texas, honey, as long as Texas is your residency, as long as Texas is where you're over here nutting in those girls, making those babies just erupting, there's no point in you marrying them. Here's why. Because I saw a clip that said, oh, why she's not worried about a prenup because she's got 2 kids by this guy and he's a multimillionaire. That's a person who doesn't know the law. See, in the law of Texas, your child support is capped. even if you are dating a millionaire, a multi-millionaire as Dak is, the child support is capped on the first $11,700 per month that he makes. Now, we all know Dak makes $11,700 per hour on the field. Okay, but Texas don't care. So what happens is for one child, basically Texas has a max. If you have children by someone who makes more, it doesn't matter. You're capped. So for one child, she would only get $2,340, but she has two with him. So that means she is capped at $2,925. So not even $3,000. That's it. That's all she gets for child support. Now I know what you're thinking, like, oh my gosh, but he makes so much. My point is, Sarah Jane, you better stretch those elbows, stretch those arms, baby. You got to go back to the bar. You got to go back to bartending. Get those wine glasses ready, honey. That winologist of yours, you got to let those people know what type of wine to sip, what to have with the red meat, what to have with the fish. Okay, because you got to have to go back to work now, honey, boo-boo. Here's why. So her max child support under Texas law is $2,925. Now, if she wants more, she has to petition the court and say, but your honor, there are special circumstances. My children have gotten accustomed to a certain lifestyle. Now, and it can't be like a Range Rover or Rolls Royce, because the children are 10 months old and 2 months or something like that, or 2 years old and 8 months, whatever it is. What she can get more for is private school, nanny service, daycare. When the girls get older, competitive dance, competitive cheer, extracurriculars. However, Dak is able to write those checks directly to the nanny, directly to the private school, and directly to competitive dance. In other words, that's not money in her pocket. The only money in her pocket would be the $2,925. So my point is, for Dak, this is an up. For girl, she may want to take them kids and run back home to Florida. That's where she's from. Because in Florida, she would get about $40,000 a month. Just an FYI. Also, some people say, well, what if they're common law? She could just be common law, and then after some years, if they break up, again, then she could go for a divorce, or she could plead common law. No, bookie boo boo. This is why I was a law professor, and you would have failed. Just kidding. But no, Google may have told you that was an option, but no, in the state of Texas, here's how common law truly works. So in some states, like, I don't know, California, they say, oh, if you get mail at that person's house. No. The state of Texas, the ruling is this. If you hold yourselves out to be husband and wife to the public, then your partner, can plead common law and then later literally get a divorce even though you were never married. So what you have to do, or what Dak would have to do to protect himself, is just make her his forever fiance. So let's say they decide to get back together. He just has to call her, this is my partner. This is my fiance. Think of Jim Jones and Chrissy. If you're not familiar with them, it's okay, because a lot of people don't know who Jim Jones is, because bless his heart, it's been a little while since he's had some music. But they were on Love and Hip Hop. Anyway, they've been engaged for about 47 years and 16 months. Okay, they've never married. The law in Texas says, if you tell people, this is my girlfriend, this is my fiance, you're not holding yourself out to be husband and wife. You're actually letting people know you're not married. Therefore, that partner, that girlfriend, that boyfriend, that fiance cannot claim common law. There we go. So Dak can do those two things. Anyway, Dak, congratulations. Sounds like you made a great financial move. Sarah and the babies, you're going to be just fine. I am sure you're going to meet someone else in Texas. Oh, wait. No, actually, there's another point that I needed to make. Lean in, ladies. Now, I know ladies who've watched this channel. This is Girl, Is That Legal on YouTube. Y'all know I'm a girl's girl. I like to give you advice and break it down in ways where women can win. That's also why I said, Sarah, you might want to get your bags and just move on back home to Florida. And then when he files, because here's how it works. If Dak files now for child support in Texas, Texas law governs, because that's where she is, that's where he is, that's where the girls are. However, if she is like, I'm so heartbroken, we've broken up, I need to go back home to Florida, be with my family, my parents are going to help me raise the girls. And if she stays there, I believe it's for 60 days or 90 days, then Florida becomes a jurisdiction, and then she gets $50,000, 40 to 50,000 a month based on his income. So I'm just saying. But lastly, ladies, be very aware when you're dating these kinds of guys. And I'm not saying anything about Dak's character. What I'm referring to is when you're dating multimillionaire, high profile guys, let me be very clear. It's going to be very difficult for you to later find someone else who wants to marry you and take you seriously, because the pool of men who want to compete with Dak as the father of your children is going to be very narrow. They have to have high confidence, or they're going to be the kind of man who just wants to use you. There's a clip that I loved from the game, the rapper, the game. I know it sounds crazy. Before I play it though, you guys, oops, here we go. Don't forget, I'm attorney Symone Redwine. If you want a consultation with me, I do consultations with people throughout the nation. If you're injured in a serious injury accident anywhere in the nation, you can go to SymoneRedwine.com or call 855-4-SYMONE, and I would be happy to give you a free injury consultation. Or if you'd like a consultation for a non-injury matter, you can call that same number, 855-4-SYMONE, or go to SymoneRedwine.com. A consultation for non-injury matters is only $199 for 30 minutes. I want to show you this clip real quickly. This is a clip from Rapper the Game. He has a child with a very beautiful girl named Shanice, who's daughters with Evelyn from Love and Hip Hop. And he, in this clip, is explaining to his baby mama, Shanice, who's a beautiful girl, as you're going to see, why it's likely going to be hard for her to find a man to marry her. Now, when I first watched the clip, I thought he was referring to himself as though, oh, I'm going to need a bunch of time. But no, what you'll see is he's basically implying, oh, no, I'm not going to marry you. And it's going to be likely difficult for you to find any other man to do so too. Here's a clip.
So Shaw gets married next year.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, if Shaw got married next year, which is very unlikely because no, I'm not. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me. I'm telling you, there's a thing that like soon as someone figures out that like your baby daddy is the game, it gets a little tricky for a man because people think they know who I am, right? And so it gets a little, damn, am I gonna have to like catch a fade with this nigga? I know how he feels about his kids. So is he going, do I really feel like doing it? Yes, you're beautiful, and yes, I want to be with you, or yes, I love you. But I think that thought process and that courting stage lasts longer than a year. So it definitely won't be next year.
Right.
I'm just being honest.
So if Shaw got married.
So the point I think that he makes is one that women, I'd like to say, until I heard him say it, I hadn't really thought about it. But his point is basically, before me, you could have just met a man and it would have been about you and love. And if you had a child like with your neighborhood school teacher, with like a guy who worked at the post office, it would not have been a big deal. It would be like, is he a good dad? Or, some guys actually want men who are not participating. They would prefer that. But here, when you have a celebrity father, you have to get with a guy who is okay, air quote, competing, because men fear that you're always going to at least try to go back to your baby daddy. So unfortunately, that's not put, because she chose to have 2 children out of wedlock with a stranger. She got pregnant months into, dating him and chose to keep it. That's her business. But when you do that, it is now going to be 10 times harder for her to find love than the average girl who would have been bartending at the bars that she used to work at. And that's the truth. So let me know in the chat. Would you be open, if you were dating a guy like Dak, would you be open to forever being his forever fiance, knowing that if you did common law, you would never have any equity. You would never be entitled to anything. You would just get the child support, which in Texas ends at 18. And even that is $2,900 a month for $3,000. That's not even a 3-bedroom apartment in Uptown Dallas or in the heart of Frisco. Or do you think she should take her talents to home to Florida, where her family is from, and get that $30,000 to $40,000 a month? My mind doesn't work that way. But I think that most girls who look like her, let me say that differently. I think most girls with her skill set, which is she does have a degree, but appears to not want to use it. So she would like to use other assets, which, hey, the economy is bad. I almost sold some pussy last week. Okay. So who am I to judge? My point is, whichever which way she does it, I don't care. It ain't paying my bills, but I am nosy. Let me know in your thoughts. How do you think she should handle it? And again, congratulations, Dak. Good luck with everything. Don't marry anybody. I don't think this isn't personal to her. I don't think Dak should be, as long as you're in Texas, don't marry nothing. And also wrap it up, boy. Wrap it up. This is ridiculous. Bye, y'all. It's your legal bestie, Attorney Symone. Hit that like and hit that subscribe.
Is that legal? Is that legal? Is that legal?